Borodar, good morning all. Welcome to day 4 of the WBP conference. Hope you're enjoying it so far. It's certainly flown by, which is always a good thing. I'm Sean McHugh from Wales Biodiversity Partnership, and I'll be chairing the first hour. Interesting theme this morning, linking place-based evidence and action. Full details of the speakers and the talks are in the agenda. And I encourage you to look at that on the Hoover platform. So it covers a really important area this morning, bringing all those sort of threads together, covering evidence, data, and practical delivery at the place-based level. So we'll have two presentations, the first from the NRW South Central Area Statement team, and then from Sorrel Jones from Technical Ecology. And then we'll have a short Q&A following the presentations. A little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget, you can ask your questions on the live chat. You can ask in Welsh or English. As I say, you can see all the presenters on the Hoover platform, and we encourage you to register for future sessions and provide feedback and ratings on the Hoover platform. And just to note, the session is being recorded, so you can watch back, and it will be available afterwards to all on the WBP website. So without further ado, we'll start with Liz Hancocks, and Liz will be introducing the first presentation. So I'll hand you over to Liz.
Borodar, good morning all. You should hopefully be able to see me and hear me. Hello from the spare bedroom office that we all seem to be working in nowadays in November 2020. So I'm Liz Hancocks. I'm one of the senior officers for People and Place in South Central. I'm relatively new to the team. I've been with the team for a couple of months now, and we thought this was a great opportunity to share with you a bit of an update really on the South Central Area Statement, see where what we've been working on, what we're hoping to work on over the coming months, and how some of that work is turning into action. A really important thing to my mind is how we combat the nature crisis is by getting all of these policies and all of the evidence that we gather, the nature that we experience into action. So just to give you a brief outline, so we're going to be talking a little bit more about our framework that we work within, the themes of the area statement, and then really getting into those case studies. And Becky Davies is going to present a couple of case studies for us this morning, which is awesome. So I will crack on with the outline. So the South Central Area Statement is one of the area statement regions, and it covers 5 local authority boroughs. It's Cardiff, it's Vale of Glamorgan, Bridgend, Rhondda Cynon Taf, and Merthyr Tydfil. And importantly as well, it's a new operational area for NRW. So NRW previously was South East and South West Wales, and so South Central is a new creation as well, and that brings with it the opportunities, but also a lot of team formation time as well. So what the area statements, as I'm sure hopefully we all are aware of by now, is they're from the Environment Act, and they're all about the sustainable management of natural resources in place. So how do we meet the Environment Act taking a place-based approach, and how can we support others to do that as well? And importantly, we need to know where to build resilience, ecosystem resilience, which is going to be a really key part of meeting the nature and climate emergencies. So we work to 3 core values in South Central, and this is something that we then, when we interact with anybody, we take out there, and it helps guide the way that we work. So we're valuing the natural environment for its own sake, as well as for the benefits that it provides for us. We're building equitable partnerships, and we recognise that there have been partnerships long-standing, way before area statements came into being, and we're putting the environment at the heart of decision making. So this is really highlighting that everything that we do has an impact on the environment, and we use the environment so much, it provides so much for us, that it needs to be higher in the agenda and taken into consideration more. So we're also working to the Sustainable Management of Natural Resources 5 steps and the principles. So these give us a more developed framework to be going about our projects, our work, our interactions. So that's more information on those is available on the NRW website. So in South Central, throughout the last couple of years of area statement work, which is very much with the team, not with me at all because I'm so new, but we've got this framework, these cornerstones of building ecosystem resilience and connecting people with nature, leading to the main issues and challenges that have been identified at the current time. So area statements are adaptive and iterative, but at the moment we want to work with water, improve health outcomes, improve air quality as the main things that we need to be looking at and tackling in a joined up way. So I'm just going to dive into one of those cornerstones here on ecosystem resilience, and that's my area that I've been really kind of focused on the last couple of years. I come from a landscape ecology background, so this this really works to those strengths as well. And throughout the area statement development of the last couple of years, the stakeholders in South Central have identified 7 groupings of ecosystems that we are going to focus on further. So if you have had a look at the area statement web pages, which are currently available, were published in April, you'll see our commitment there to publishing some ecosystem profiles. I'll talk a little bit more about those in a moment. But we know that in each of these 7 ecosystems, we need to build resilience. So we need to work on aspects of diversity, extent, condition, and connectivity. And Becky's going to give a few examples of those a bit later on. So how are we going to build these profiles? We need to answer the area statement question. So again, if you've been involved in this process, you might be this might trigger those involvement kind of memories from last year when we could all sit in workshops and actually talk to each other face to face. So excuse me. So we've got the questions there, and we're still, to be honest, we're still welcoming any input on those for any of the ecosystems. So as it says at the end of the presentation, please do get in touch if you feel you can contribute for any of those ecosystems and any of those questions in South Central. So it's all about, say, working through those 5 steps, understanding the place a lot more, and I've got you know, hopefully if we're all allowed out back outside next summer, I've got a fantastic summer I think lined up of exploring South Central and getting to know the place a lot more, because I've hopped over the border from Greater Gwent, so I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to answer those questions, as I've already alluded to, through workshops. There's been a huge amount of evidence gathered. I've got a heck of a winter ahead of me of diving into everything and trying to pull together something that works for our stakeholders. And we've got a little example of what we've been working on, and we've got to get that up to scratch for the other ecosystems as well. So you've got workshops. We also need to work really closely with the local nature partnerships as well. So lots of co-working, and we need to be looking at the regional and national evidence as well. So that's a really key part of area statements for me, is that they take the national evidence and we start to interpret it at a more local level. So you can see the curve mapping there, and that's the current relative value of ecosystem resilience mapping. And the key thing with this is it gives us just a bit of a snapshot in time from earlier in the year when it came out. to say the darker green in the area, the more resilient we think that area is from this analysis. In theory, as part of building resilience, we want to see more of these 1 kilometre squares move towards a darker green. So once we've got our ecosystem profiles and we've fleshed out the area statement a bit more whilst continuing all of this working with people, and we need to figure out how to make those. We do know a lot about how to make those impacts, where to go, who to speak to, and the mechanisms involved. So this is just a bit of a busy slide of where all of those mechanisms and influences can start to really come through. So probably easier to talk about a real life example, but good to outline. So I'm going to pass over to Becky now to give us a bit of a case study, first of all on woodlands and our initial work that we've been working on for that ecosystem.
Thanks, Liz. So as Liz sort of explained, that we will be looking through the different ecosystems, and we started with woodlands, being that one, we have a lot of expertise in-house, but also we manage a significant portion of woodlands across South Central. I think when we calculated it, it was just of all the woodlands in South Central Wales, we managed, or NRW managed, Welsh Government Woodland Estate, which is just under 50% of the entire area of woodland. So, you know, it's something significant that we need to sort of really understand and look at. So in looking at the woodland ecosystem, we asked those questions that Liz highlighted: what is special and significant, what are the current pressures, the drivers, how, where are they best connected, where do we need to build resilience. The brief sort of headlines are, and you could see very quickly from the sort of the curve mapping, that we had far more resilience sort of indicated within the north end of our of the area. So from Cardiff upwards through the valleys, we have, you know, a good amount of well-connected woodland. But what we were finding is that perhaps the management of that woodland isn't quite where we would want it to be to sort of really build that resilience. So that's something which we need to sort of take forward and how we can better consider that. And then the other sort of headline was that, I mean, no surprise that there wasn't as much woodland and the resilience is much lower around Cardiff and the Vale of Glamorgan. That's where we need to sort of expand woodland, better connect it, and we can do this through hedgerow connectivity and really sort of building the sort of the resilience elements within that area. So to display this information, we've been sort of thinking about what's the best way to sort of provide all that evidence and show our thinking, our working around it, and to sort of really start that conversation with others. So we have produced a story map. I say we, Jeff has done this. This is not something that I would be able to do. So Jeff has done this, and we were really frustrated that we didn't get it signed off by today, but we're hoping any day now, and we'll be able to share this with you. So yeah, it's a story of the South Central area, looking at where we've got resilience, where we need to put management, where these pressures are, and you know, as I bringing together all that evidence and information and really telling the character of woodlands within South Central. We hope to do this with all of our ecosystems, and so that you really sort of get an understanding of resilience across the area. So if you would like to get involved in particular in any one of these, as Liz said, please do get in touch with us, and our contact details are at the end of the presentation. So in considering woodlands, we first of all wanted to have a look at that ecological resilience. It was really difficult to separate the ecosystem services of woodlands, because they are, you know, fantastic. There are so many varied benefits from woodlands. So when we sort of look at those, we really want to try and put them in context of South Central place. We know that woodlands and trees are really key to the future adaptation and mitigation of climate change and essential for working with water, improving our air quality, and important places for physical and mental health. So what we also see it as, we need them to contribute to the national drivers for woodland creation and decarbonisation. But we wanted to make sure that it still is providing those ecosystem services that we need and have identified within South Central for future generations. But we also need to ensure that whatever we do with management and creating woodlands, we need to ensure that we are building on ecological resilience. So in South Central, we plan to have a local approach to woodlands. This is to provide a clear overview of what we mean by the right tree and right place, what this means in the context of South Central. So making sure that it's not detrimental to other ecosystem resilience and contributing to decarbonisation rather than a sort of woodland creation taking putting pressures on other ecosystems. So rather that woodland creation is delivering ecosystem services rather than and reducing things like flood risk, improving air quality, and the key issues that we've identified in South Central. So this local approach will provide a clear focus and vision for management and planning, supporting our forest resource planning process, and ensuring that we are raising the issues around sort of public engagement and that woodlands are better managed for communities which live right alongside these woodlands. So this work will be further developed, and as I say, we really are looking for support and sort of input from such a variety of different audiences. So we ask that people do get in touch with us, and we, the same, will be knocking on people's doors.
Lovely, thank you, Becky. And just to touch on the other cornerstone of our area statement, connecting people with nature. This is something that I'm particularly passionate about. I used to work for the RSPB a fair few years ago, and it's a key theme of theirs, and it's something that I've really enjoyed doing on nature reserves with all ages is connecting people with nature. And in the area statement, we also mean connecting people with nature in meeting rooms and in boardrooms to make better decisions for nature. It's not all just about pond dipping with 5-year-olds, unfortunately. It's also about the people who are sitting there making decisions about land use or budgets or projects. So we just thinking about that in terms of sometimes people are going to respond because of logic, because they know something. Sometimes they're going to respond because of the emotional pull on something, because they care or they're connected with something in that way, and maybe they're they've got experience, or they might be willing to lend a hand as well to support and protect. So that's an area that we are working on, but it's probably a little less well defined than the clear-cut ecosystem kind of resilience assessment work. Something that I've continued to enjoy connecting with nature during lockdown in Cardiff. So moved here at the start of lockdown, and very delighted really that we've got a local hedgehog, and I can still go find some fly agaric at about a month or so ago. There are bats flying around the taff, and developing our little patch of tiny scrap of garden into something with a few more flowers in. So I think it's connecting where we can, and encouraging people to recognise that value that nature brings to us in that way. So that's a bit about our the approach to resilience and connecting people with nature, and then looking at these main challenges. And we don't have an awful lot of time left, so we'll do a quick example on this one, I think. Working with water, obviously super important. We've really seen a resurgence of river health in the last couple of decades. Otter are doing well. Water vole populations are rebounding, which, again, a local, special and significant element taking from the launch of the State of Mammals yesterday. So just going to hand back over to Becky to just talk briefly about another delivery mechanism focused around our theme there of working with water.
Thanks, Liz. So opportunity catchments are an NRW national driver for the delivery of the third cycle of the River Basin Management Plan. This is Water Framework Directive. But what we're trying to do this time is to sort of better incorporate the Wellbeing Future Generations Act and the Environment Act to delivering in a far more SMNR way, and that sort of freedom to think a bit bigger and on a more catchment scale. And we're really using this in South Central as a really key delivery mechanism for looking and identifying the key pressures on the water environment and how to tackle them. So whilst it will be delivering Water Framework Directive measures, we are using it to tackle our resilience issues as well. So the Taff-and-Ely catchments are this is the catchment identified in South Central. This is home to about 20% of the population. So as you can imagine, with 20% of the Welsh population comes a lot of pressures from the urban environment. And also this is the place where we have significant industrial past. So this has really shaped and manipulated our landscape and our in-channel rivers. So we're really picking up the legacy of this sort of broken and balanced natural processes, where we've got displaced and disconnected species and habitats. So the focus really is on this. I'll sort of go a bit quicker. Sorry. So in this work, we really want to sort of develop a more integrated and collaborative approach to catchment management. So really thinking about from the peatlands and at the top, right the way through our free valleys and into our river, through our river corridors and into Cardiff Bay. So that sort of story right the way throughout. And as Liz mentioned, sort of really reconnecting people. So sort of trying to raise awareness with decision makers, but also with the communities of our connection with water environments and our unintended consequences of our lives on the water environment, because everyone sort of sees it when we see flooding, but not necessarily our connection on a day-to-day basis. So really, this is an opportunity to look at different ways, different trialing, different approaches to sort of stop doing the status quo, to explore different opportunities and really be ambitious in how we manage our water environment. As I say, this is to deliver the Water Framework Directive, but we want to go much further on around the catchment with this. So it's very much a mechanism for delivering our ambition for the area statement, and we see this as really, really important, sort of building those partnerships and improving our communication. So I'll finish there.
Lovely, thank you, Becky. So that hopefully just gives you a couple of highlights of how we're starting to use all of this information gathered in the area statement development process, and we really appreciate everybody's input so far. It is greatly appreciated. The web pages don't fully have all of that contribution on them, so that's our key aim this winter, is to get more out there from what's been gathered and the perspectives and views and all sorts of things that have been gathered to date. So do come and talk to us. We're a friendly bunch. We'd be happy to chat with you about anything in the South Central region, and that's all of our contact details up there. So thank you, and thank you to Wales Biodiversity Partnership for having us this morning.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Becky. A tremendous amount of work going on in South Central, and the contacts are there for you to get in touch, but also as well across the other area statements in Wales. They'll have similar contacts, so if you're in other areas of Wales. Really good to hear that environment's the heart of decision making, building on resilience and those ecosystem progress on water and woodland environment and the rest to come. That's fantastic. So thanks very much for that.